Demonstrative pronouns. We're going to talk about them in German, but let's quickly talk about them in English. So demonstrative pronouns has the word demonstrate in it. So if you're demonstrating, you're showing things. So in English, this, that, these, those. This and that would be in the singular, and these and those would be in the plural. So that's just a little bit about what a demonstrative pronoun is. English, this, that, these, those, and they can be singular or plural. So you might want to write that down. So something else to notice about demonstrative pronouns, they can only be used if they're referencing something you just mentioned. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. You don't know what this is or that is. So it's something that's already mentioned, perhaps in a previous sentence, or perhaps something previously told to you. So if I have a question, for example, do you see my book? That is the one I wanted, right? So I know that references my book, and I know it's the demonstrative pronoun being used. Sometimes in English class or for a formal essay, you might get in trouble for using a demonstrative pronoun because it's not specific. You could then, however, use a demonstrative adjective, and you could say, that book is the one I wanted. And now I know specifically to what, or in some cases, to whom you're referring. So that's something that I would definitely make sure you just kind of remember. So, 4 fun facts about demonstrative pronouns in German, right? They're very similar to the definite articles. So, if you think about der, die, das, den, die, das, dem, der, den, des, der, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but that doesn't count. It's very similar to the definite article chart or the chart. Because it's demonstrative, showing things, you usually see them in reference to conversation. Thirdly, because they're used in conversation, it's particularly interesting to hear people use them because that's the word that's emphasized. Even if you just heard me say that is the word just emphasized, I just emphasized my demonstrative pronoun that. Haha. Okay. Sorry, not funny. And finally, as I said before, we'll get back to that, right? None in the genitive. So you're only worrying about nominative, accusative, dative cases. So just nominative, accusative, and dative. Nothing in the genitive. So knowing that it's similar to the definite articles, this should look very familiar to you. So der, die, das, die, den, die, das, die, dem, der, dem, oh no, something's weird and different, So this is the one that changes. Dem, der, dem, denen. So in your chart, that's something that's going to change. So the nominative subject, the accusative direct object, and the indirect dative. You're familiar with all of these as the, but now we can use them as demonstrative pronouns. So I'd make sure you have this in your notes as well. As with everything, because really everything I say is always terribly, terribly important. Okay, when you're done, here we go. So, as I mentioned, it has to be something that has been previously mentioned. So my question is, siehst du das Auto dort? So I'm talking about the car. Do you see the car there? Oh, that I would like to have. Meaning that car I would like to have. So as with all things in German, every noun has a gender. So we have to know what's the gender of car. Der, die, or das. Auto is neuter, das. And then we have to figure out, well, what's the case in the context of this sentence? Now I kind of flipped this sentence around a little bit. Notice right here we have ich. And ich is actually the subject. So do you see the car there? That I would like to really have. So I is actually the subject. You could rephrase it to help you by saying I would like to have that. So once I know the gender and I know the case, so because I is the subject, that means we're looking for the direct object or accusative. I can look at my chart and I can go, okay, I want neuter, accusative, so I'm going to use das. And that will be our answer. Siehst du das Auto dort? Das möchte ich gern haben. Now let's take a look at another example, okay? So, do you know these people? Yeah, these I know well. So, this Leute, we have to figure out the gender. Is it masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural? If you remembered that it's plural, you are correct. So now we definitely know we're dealing with the plural column. So we have here our subject, I, which makes this the accusative case. Kennst du diese Leute? Do you know these people? Plural accusative gives us D. Ja, die kenne ich gut. Yeah, these I know well. They're my peeps. And as one final example, I have a pencil. Da, 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 da. Ich habe einen Bleistift. I will this or that bring along. So, Bleistift, what's the gender? Always figure out the gender first. Masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural. I hope at this stage in your German learning, you know that pencil is masculine. So masculine. And I is the subject, meaning this is the accusative case. If you know der, die, das, die, den, die, das, die, you would be correct.